Hill Gaming, where I share my passion of video games with the whole wide world. This is part 9 of my Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes, aka remake of Metal Gear Solid, live gameplay. So, as always, sit back, relax, and more importantly, enjoy the live stream. This is actually exciting because this is actually the furthest I've gotten in Metal Gear Solid in well over 20 years. I've only completed this game like twice when it originally released on the PS1, as I said, 20 years ago. I did track down this game many years later in a retro game store, but I never actually, completed it. Um, you know, then. Um, and I played it again on the PlayStation Classic Mini, but I probably got as far as the first encounter with Sniper Wolf. So yeah, like this is the first time reaching this far in Metal Gear Solid in over 20 years, and it's even made better by the fact that I'm actually playing the remake of Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. So exciting stuff now indeed. So I think what happens here is you make your way up the communication tower, and I think that's where you actually fight Liquid Snake, I think, for the first time, which actually kind of gives me an idea. I wonder what happened if I actually phone Liquid Snake. Spoiler alert: Liquid Snake is actually in disguise as your Master Miller, who modern Metal Gear fans will know as, will know Miller from Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. But let's see what he says.
Plan your strategy based on the enemy's positions. Try to think like the enemy commander would think. If you can put yourself in the map designer's mind, a lot of doors will open for you.
I think Twin Snakes speaks to the gamer a lot more than it did in the original. I don't even think it did actually in the original. Metal Gear Solid 2 did play around with that kind of like breaking, what is it, the fourth wall or fifth wall, where they were like speaking to the gamer directly. But it seems to happen a lot more in the remake. Do you know something I want to talk about as well? About Metal Gear in general, not just this particular game, but the Metal Gear series, right? Actually, I want to share my live stream. Just, I'll be right back, and I'll finish my little discussion then. Won't be long. Back. Metal Gear is like you should know this. No matter how big of a fan you are of Metal Gear, no matter how long you've been playing the series, you should know it's about stealth. And what is stealth? It's avoiding um, confrontation. It's avoiding the enemies. It's not about going up to the enemies, guns blazing, and shooting them. It's literally avoiding them. Um, so that's something I just wanted to kind of mention and kind of remind people of, and actually even remind myself of. To be quite honest with you, I hope I get my hands on the PSGT tranquilizer sniper rifle. I'm guessing, by the way, that's a weapon that's exclusive to this remake actually as well, along with the M9 tranquilizer as well. But I'm actually hoping that I get that from from defeating. I think you fight Sniper Wolf twice, if I'm not mistaken. Also, as I always remind people, being able to look around fully in first person is also an exclusive mode to the remake Twin Snakes. Something I didn't know up until recently is the amount of um, hate that Twin Snakes um, has gotten. Not no particularly, not no particularly. Uh, More so when the game released over 20 years ago in 2004. Yeah, a lot of people didn't like it for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons is being able to aim in first person. It makes uh, it makes boss battles easier, um, which I can understand. But it's only one boss battle in particular. It's the first boss battle when you're fighting Ocelot. People also don't like the over-the-top action um, cutscenes. This game released in 2004, so back then, movies like The Matrix was really popular, and Hideo Kojima was inspired by those movies, which is why the cutscenes are a lot more over the top with their action. I don't understand how that could be a problem. I mean, it literally says on the front of the box, tactical espionage action. It's an action game. It's stealth, but it's still action. I don't see why people would have a problem with Snake. How can a game where there's a character that can read your mind, or a series where you've got like fucking enemies that can get shot in the head but are still alive and can spawn bees out of their fucking bellies, and how the hell like can gamers react to a game like that and say, oh, I don't like the way Snake does somersaults in the cutscenes, it's too action orientated? I mean, what the fuck are they going on about, man? It's hilarious. I'm sorry, but it is absolutely hilarious the way people react to things. But yeah, that's one of the things that people don't like about the remake is the over the top cutscenes. What else did they say as well? I'm not too quite else one. I'm not quite sure what else people. But that's the thing with a remake. When you take a beloved game that so many people like for so many years and you remake it, you're going to upset a lot of people along the way, and that's just the way it is. So that door is level 6. I have a level 6 car, but I kind of want to go up here and see what's up here. I think of other things people don't like it. Oh, I didn't. I think overall people think it's easier. I don't know if I agree with that personally. People think that the remake is easier than the original because of what I mentioned earlier about being able to aim in first person, but also the fact that you can get that you actually have the tranquilizer, or the fact that you have the M9 tranquilizer makes things easier. But look, I mean, this is my first time playing this game, and I fucking love it. I really, really do. I think they stayed 100% true to the original in every way. So I don't really have an issue with it. Um, yeah, I don't really have an issue with it personally. Not yet, anyway. I'm kind of almost halfway through so far. But as I mentioned, look, when you remake a beloved game, you're going to get people that are either going to love it or they're going to hate it. But I'll tell you no one thing, man. In the day, in the days of The Last of Us Part Two remastered, I gotta say, like I much prefer like playing a remake like Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes and comparing it to the original PS1 version. Let's just say that as I take out my level 6 keycard. The hell? Oh. Oops. Okay, I wasn't too sure when that moment was going to happen in the game, but it's happened now. Okay, story time. I may have told you the story already, but I actually ordered my copy of. Look, before we go any further, what does that word say? Action, tactical, espionage, action. It's an action game, so of course you're going to get over the top action cutscenes. I don't know why certain people didn't like the over the top action cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. But anyway, back to my story time. So I ordered this game, Metal Gear Solid the Twin Snakes, from Amazon. It arrived to my door 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks Wednesday. As of this recording, I'm going to confuse so many people. Anyway, it arrived 2 weeks ago, but it only arrived with the first disc. Even though like the product was advertised to me as a game that came with the two discs, because I know that there's some people out there online that are fucking retarded, uh, that are absolutely psychotic, that are absolutely like twisted, and they will like sell the manual of Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes, or they will sell, get this one, a replica of the second disc, um, which basically means a bit of plastic that's replicating the second disc of Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. There are people who will sell an empty box, you name it. So I was aware of that. I was aware of that going into my purchase of Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes on Amazon. That's why I looked at the product description very carefully, both the visual product description, which is the images you can see of the product, and the text-based product description. Read them very, very carefully, and nowhere in the product description did it state that there was only one disc. It showed the second disc. So I made my purchase and I waited for the game to arrive. And as I said, it arrived 2 weeks ago, but it only came with one disc. So I got in contact with Amazon. To cut a really long story short, there they gave me a full refund. Um, they said that I didn't have to return the product because it didn't have a second disc, so they wouldn't have put it on sale. So it's just like getting something broken, and you're not going to bring, they're not going to take something broken. So with the money that I would have spent on the Twin Snakes from Amazon, I was able to get another copy of the Twin Snakes from eBay, like €30 cheaper. That's currently on its way to my house as I speak. It could arrive right now, and wouldn't it be perfect if it did? Wouldn't it just be perfect if it did? But yeah, that's on its way, and hopefully it'll have a second disc. So I wasn't too sure like when that moment was going to happen, but it happened now. So I'm technically halfway through the Twin Snakes right now. There really isn't a whole lot of content left in the game, from what I can actually remember. You're pretty much kind of, you're going to the area where Metal Gear is being held, but like because it's been so long since I've actually played Metal Gear Solid, I'm actually not that sure. Um, just how far. Look, I'm not going to end the live stream just yet because I'm aware that I'm only like 12 minutes into the live stream. What I can do is take this opportunity to look at some of the bonus content and briefing videos and stuff like that, because unfortunately there's nothing else I can do right now. Thankfully, I've saved my progress. What's it doing? What does this say? Let's have Weaver says, press the open button to open the disc cover and replace the Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes game disc 1 with the Metal Gear Solid the Twin Snakes game disc 2 after you have exchanged the game discs. Close the disc cover. I would imagine on the Wii it would work. You just press the eject button, the disc will come out and put it back in. I'm hoping that happens anyway. But what I'll do anyway is where's the reset button? I'll show you some briefing videos. There's a couple of briefing videos, kind of explaining. That shouldn't have happened. Press reset. And we get to see my Wii menu. I'm guessing that takes all the people back. What do we have? That's the GameCube menu. Basically, that turns your Wii into a GameCube. I miss when Nintendo used to be fully backwards compatible. Like, I miss those days. But it's kind of funny when you think of it, really, because like Nintendo only really became backwards. Well, I think consoles only became backwards compatible from like early 2000s, really. But no, the first time Nintendo was backwards. I think what Nintendo was they started with cartridges, and then they like eventually went with disc based medium with the GameCube with the tiny discs. Anyway, what the hell am I saying? So Nintendo's first backwards compatible console was the Nintendo Wii. Yeah, so you could play GameCube games on the Wii. Like that would basically, like this is basically Wii mode or GameCube mode. And then on the Wii U, you could play um, you could play Wii games, and that's where the backwards compatibility ended. We're all hoping, and it's looking pretty. It's pretty much going to be confirmed that the Switch 2 will be backwards compatible with Switch 1 games. Um, they might do a thing like where if you want like a kind of an upgrade, because obviously like the Switch 2 is going to be more advanced over the Switch 1. So what could happen there is you kind of like pay maybe like a small fee to like upgrade your your Switch game. God Almighty, what am I doing? I'm just talking about backwards compatibility instead of playing Metal Gear Solid. But I'll get back into the extras in a second. But it's just there's nostalgia. There's Donkey Kong, the original edition. Remember the photo channel on the Wii Shop channel. Ah, there's that music. Can't go into it because the Wii is no longer can't go online on the Wii anymore. Weather forecast channel and news channel. I mean, those were really like kind of like very like fucking unique features, for a console. Like, do you know where you can have your Netflix and your Disney Plus or whatever on your console. You can watch like a DVD or a 4K movie. It was really kind of crazy that you could literally check the news and the weather. There was also an internet browser, of course, the Me channel and YouTube, all of which I can't access because the Nintendo shut down the what you call it, the servers for the Wii. Anyway, so go back into Metal Gear Solid now. Kind of like drag up the live stream. I didn't know that this was the second half of the game. I'm so sorry. This is turning into a weird. So I need to show some Metal Gear content because, like, at the end of the day, it still is Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes live stream. So yeah, I should have checked to see. If only I went a little bit further yesterday in yesterday's live stream. Literally, all I needed to do was to literally go through a door, and it would have said this too, and then I would have said, okay, well, then I would have known that, and I would have waited until disc 2 arrived. It's due for delivery by Wednesday, which the time of recording is in 2 days' time. So hopefully, I know it'll arrive by then. So it's unfortunately as well, I found out that there's actually no VR missions. There's no VR missions in the remake, which is disappointing now, to be honest with you. What we do have are these like special features that are exclusive to Twin Snakes. So what I'll do, I'll actually go into previous operations, which basically gives the story of the events of Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. So that's kind of exciting. I'm hoping to stream Metal Gear on my channel as well, so stay tuned for that. What's interesting here, and what I want to point out here, I'm going to set the scene here now. So I mentioned earlier, like, a lot of modern gamers and modern Metal Gear fans and like bandwagon Metal Gear fans, newcomers to the series of all sorts, they're going to be mostly familiar with Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, or even Ground Zeroes before it. That may have been their first like entry into the series, whether they've played it or seen people stream it. So what's interesting is that Metal Gear, which just so happens to be the very first game released in the series, just so happens to take place chronologically, timeline-wise, after the most recent Metal Gear game, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. So Metal Gear, this story now takes place after Metal Gear Solid 5. So if you played Metal Gear Solid 5 recently and you've completed it, and you want to find out what happens next, this is what happens next. So the year is 1995. Deep in South Africa, which, as you know, played a massive role in Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, 200 kilometers north of Garrisburg, Outer Heaven, an armed fortress nation established by a legendary mercenary, which we know as the Big Boss. So we know that, like, throughout the events of the Phantom Pain, like, Big Boss basically establishes Outer Heaven. I mean, I think it's called Mother Base still back then, but that's essentially what Outer Heaven, like, Outer Heaven basically grows throughout the events of the Phantom Pain. He was feared in combat by both his friends and foes as a hero and a lunatic. And you saw that in part 5. He does kind of eventually kind of like go off the rails a little bit, you know. The Western nations had found out that a weapon of mass destruction capable of rewriting war, second out, history was under development at Outer Heaven. They called upon the high-tech special forces unit Foxhound, which is obviously an evolution of Fox, which you see in Metal Gear Solid 3, to take care of the situation. In response to this order, Big Boss Commander-in-Chief of... So as I'm reading this now, I'm actually confused. Sorry. They called upon the high-tech special forces unit Foxhound to take care of the situation. In response to this order, Big Boss, Commander-in-Chief, oh yeah, because he was still kind of Commander-in-Chief of Foxhound, nobody really knew that, I don't think, sent Grey Fox, the man with the codename Fox, a name given to the best member of the unit, Operation Intrude N313. After a few days, Grey Fox was missing in action, the last message being Metal Gear. Taking the situation seriously, the top men of the West again called for Foxhound. Big Boss selected Agent Solid Snake, who had recently joined Foxhound and entrusted everything to him. Making a solo infiltration into Outer Heaven, Snake got in touch with local resistance members Schneider, Diane, and Jennifer. With their operation, Snake succeeded in rescuing Grey Fox. Grey Fox then laid out the terrifying facts about Metal Gear. Metal Gear was the development name of a nuclear warhead equipped two-legged walking tank. It could walk through even the toughest terrain that would stop normal tanks. It would conduct local warfare by itself with unique weapons like its Vulcan cannon and anti-tank missiles. It was indeed a new type of weapon that could conduct a nuclear attack against any place on the face of the Earth from any land surface. So you can see just how dangerous Metal Gear is. With Metal Gear, Outer Heaven was trying to establish its military superiority over the entire world. In order to destroy Metal Gear, Snake rescued Metal Gear's chief engineer, Dr. Petrovich, and his daughter Ellen, who was taken hostage to force her father to continue with his development. Snake heard from Dr. Petrovich, probably pronouncing that wrong, but who cares, how to destroy Metal Gear. However, as Snake approached the heart of Outer Heaven and Metal Gear, well-designed traps were set all around Snake, as if all his actions were being leaked to the enemy. In the midst of the sweltering battle, the leader of the resistance, Schneider, fell into the hands of the enemy, and Snake himself was injured through deadly battles with Outer Heaven's best mercenaries. But Snake's indomitable spirit led him to the 100th floor basement of the secret base where Metal Gear was developed. Jesus, they really kept that. They were really doing their best to keep that secret, weren't they? Evading the powerful defense systems that had wiped out all other intruders, Snake ultimately succeeded in destroying Metal Gear. Snake tried to escape from Outer Heaven upon completing the mission. However, during the escape, he was confronted by one man, Foxhound Commander Big Boss. Big Boss laughed at the astounded Snake and told him the truth about his mission. While serving as the commander of Foxhound, Big Boss also ran a mercenary dispatch company utilizing his connections and capital from his years as a merc. He was planning to build this company a larger military establishment, and he built Outer Heaven as his base. His purpose for sending the rookie Snake to Outer Heaven was to cause information confusion in the West. However, Big Boss miscalculated. He never thought the Snake would make it that far. Having lost Metal Gear, Big Boss activated the self-destruction system of the underground base while the countdown to destruction continued. His scream echoed in the emptiness. "You have gone too far, too far." In the 100th floor basement, the battle between the two men commenced, free of ideology and politics. The armed fortress nation Outer Heaven collapsed. The impregnable fortress, made from the best military technology and occupied with the toughest mercenaries, burnt in flames. Behind him, the flames reached skyward as out of heaven fell, leaving Solid Snake all alone. And as we know, that's not Big Boss. That is the Phantom, basically Phantom Snake, Phantom whatever, Phantom Boss, Venom Snake, whoever. Um, so the real Big Boss makes an appearance in Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake, which takes place directly after Metal Gear. Well, not quite directly, but this is the year 1999, and it's crazy because like that was the timeline. That's the year that Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake was set in, but it actually would have released in like the late 80s, which is crazy. So in 1999, the world was facing an energy crisis, as it is now. It was obvious that the supply of petroleum would run out faster than expected. However, the development of an alternate energy resource was far from completion. The price of petroleum skyrocketed, and the world economy was in confusion. The 21st century was no, expected one of chaos. One man's invention changed the entire situation. A Czech genius and biologist, Dr. Keo Marv, invented Oilix, a microorganism that refines petroleum to produce a highly purified form of petroleum. The world was filled with hope upon the discovery of this mission to solve the energy crisis. But at the same time, the world entered a time of tension regarding this new algae. Just when the whole world's attention was drawn to Ilex and Dr. Marv, he was abducted by someone and disappeared. Nations began investigations immediately, and a name soon appeared: Zanzibar land. Zanzibar land was a democratic military regime that suddenly appeared in Central Asia in 1997. When their uprising took place, the CIS army, formed around Russia, sent a suppressive unit immediately. Zanzibar land resisted by gathering a band of mercenaries from nations around the world and fortifying most of its land. As a result, the CIS army was repeatedly defeated, and Zanzibar land, declared its independence. Due to the active role mercenaries played, this war was called the Mercenary War, and Zanzibar land was referred to as an armed fortress nation, a military nation with a group of strong mercenaries surrounded by a tough fortress. According to the latest information, Zanzibar supposedly was armed with nuclear weapons. The whole scenario was crystal clear. By obtaining Ilex in addition to nuclear weapons, Zanzibar land was trying to establish its economic and military superiority over the entire world. You can kind of see Big Boss's interpretation of the boss's will here, like trying to contain this kind of like one powerful nation where everyone is kind of, it's fucked up. It's a complete like misinterpretation, of course, of the boss's will, like, but that's what he's trying to do basically. Concerned about the situation, the United States ordered Roy Campbell, commander of a high-tech special forces unit Foxhound, to rescue Dr. Marv. Campbell was a former member of Foxhound. He brought back Solid Snake, the man who single-handedly brought down the armed fortress nation of Outer Heaven 4 years before, and asked Snake to bring back both Dr. Marv and Oilik, successfully infiltrating Zanzibar land, and with the help of the CIA agent Holly and others, Snake was able to go deep into the fortress and meet again with Dr. Petrovich, the chief engineer of Metal Gear at Outer Heaven. He too was abducted to Zanzibar land and was forced to develop another Metal Gear. He told the surprised Snake of an even more shocking fact. Big Boss, the man Snake had defeated at Outer Heaven, turned out to be the general commander of Zanzibar land. Snake rescued Dr. Petrovich in cooperation with Natasha, Dr. Marv's guard, and former Czech international secret police agent, and then headed for the confinement facility deep in the fortress to save Dr. Marv. When Petrovich and Natasha crossed the narrow suspension bridge over the deep valley, a missile blew the bridge away. Natasha was sent flying into the air from the explosion. While unable to do anything to save Natasha, Snake started hearing a well-known voice. Hey Snake, we are good buddies. I can let you go. Just leave this place at once. Grey Fox. Snake saw Grey Fox, the best soldier in Foxhole, controlling Metal Gear. After the fall of Out of Heaven, Fox had disappeared as if he had followed Big Boss, losing Natasha in front of his eyes and letting Petrovich get taken away. Snake screamed, Fox, I will not give up. After a series of deadly battles with the mercenary, Snake finally made it to Dr. Marv's confinement facility. So this is the battle that is referred to in Metal Gear Solid between Grey Fox and Snake. However, he arrived too late. He saw Dr. Marv's corpse and Petrovich, who could do nothing but just stand there. Petrovich told Snake that Dr. Marv could not withstand the repeated tortures because of heart problems. Snake then received an emergency call from Holly. The information she supplied was shocking. Petrovich had been voluntarily visiting Zanzibar land to develop Metal Gear. The abduction of Dr. Marv was conducted under the directions of Petrovich himself. Dan. After the truth came out, Petrovich attacked Snake, but Snake easily put an end to him and obtained a structural plan of Ilex. While trying to escape, Snake was confronted by Metal Gear, again controlled by Grey Fox. A tremendous battle took place in the underground base. Snake finally succeeded in destroying Metal Gear. However, Grey Fox did not submit and challenged Snake to a final battle. In the midst of a minefield, Snake and Fox fought without any weapons, fist to fist, like we see in Metal Gear Solid, involving no hatred or murderous intent. During that weird moment of purity, the two were bound by forces transcending words and emotion. Snake won the tough but pure battle against Grey Fox. However, there was someone else Snake still had to fight, Big Boss, just like 4 years before at Outer Heaven. Big Boss was waiting for Snake. One who has experienced the tension of battle can never leave the battlefield. I am the one giving you something to live for, and that is war. So Big Boss thinks like that war is essentially important and like it's what's going to bring the world together. He's the big lunatic, really. Snake was infuriated at the arrogant Big Boss. There was only one battle I have to fight, to free myself from you, to shatter the nightmare. Big Boss, I will kill you. But the structural plan of Ilex, Snake and Holly escaped from Zanzibar land in a rescue helicopter. Snake once again saved the world. However, there was no smile on his face. Big Boss's last word kept ringing in Snake's head. Whoever wins our battle does not end. The loser is freed from the battlefield, but the winner must remain there. And that survivor must live his life as the warrior until he dies. Snake then disappeared into the... It's funny how they don't actually mention, because I think in that game he actually mentions that he actually is his father. But that's the events of Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake, which I think are desperately in need of being like remade. And when I say remade, like obviously I don't mean like, because obviously the gameplay like of these two games like are from like a different time, before like 3D gaming and stuff like that. Like, so I don't mean those remakes should play the same as they do, as they do in the original, but more of a kind of just take the story of those games, right? Take the story of those games and then make like a game from the story of those games. Not so much a direct remake from gameplay perspective, but just a remake in terms of story. Could be in the style of the Phantom Pain, but just from the story of these two games put together. I think it'd be fantastic. Anyway, let's go do for the live stream. I'm sorry I couldn't show any actual much gameplay at all. I didn't realize I actually had reached the end of the second half of the game. So I have to put in the second disc, which unfortunately I don't have yet because Amazon fucked up and didn't give me the second disc. But I ordered it from eBay, and that should be arriving between now and Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. Nonetheless, thank you for watching. Much appreciated, and I'll see you next time on Green Hill Gaming. Goodbye, and enjoy the rest of your day.